right, fire it up. Let's do your thing here, bud. Nobody's any better at this than you are.
That's fine. Take a deep breath.
Give them hell at the end. You like this?
Fight like hell like we do every week. You are the best here. Brett, be affirmative. You told me to get on.
Info. Ready. Ready. Go slow. Green, green, green. Lock it down, lock it down.
I'm destroyed, and I just got drove through like 6 times on the 14th. What the f*** is he thinking? That is the stupidest thing I've seen in my career.
Everything you described is accurate. Haven't even finished the second stage yet. Half the field's wrecked.
Hell yeah! 11 got it.
Proud of you there, Matt. Good job, pal. Thanks, man. Good job all day. Great work, my man. Great work.
Keep putting yourself in position, we'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
10-4, great job, guys.
And welcome back to Racing in the Draft. My name's Mark, and thank you for joining me today on a special Saturday morning live. Yeah, the week kind of caught up with me. Had that extra day of, I guess, relief on Monday. Hope everyone had a great Memorial Day. Thanks again to all the troops and veterans and everyone who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. But we're back at it. We are headed to Gateway, or World Wide Technology Raceway. But before we get there, let's cover what happened on Sunday at the Coke 600, which, in my honest opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, it looked like after Jeff Gluck's poll, I think it ended up at almost 92% favorable after having a about 8% favorable from the All-Star race. Yeah, complete polar opposites. So, you know, Marcus Smith and those guys at SMI have got some work to do to try to figure out what they're going to do with the All-Star race. I wouldn't be opposed to bringing it back to Charlotte after what we saw on Sunday. What man! That race had everything: cars upside down, cars on fire, cars going to the back, coming to the front. I mean, you name it. That race had it, and it was long. But I tell you what, it may have been long, but it didn't feel as long as it was. It was still a long race. Don't get me wrong, but it was entertaining from the drop of the green to the drop of the checkers. Comers and goers, and I mean, look at Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin wins the darn race and only leads 15 laps, and literally looked like he was going to be crap all night again. But I mean, he came in and pulled it out. Well, once again, thanks for joining me for this live video. If you have any comments, thoughts, or anything, make sure you hit me up in the chat. Hit that like, the subscribe button. But let's dig into the optimal lineup from Charlotte. As expected, I've always said don't take the pole sitter. I did have him in a little bit of the lineups, and he didn't end up bad. I think he was 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th on the total points for the day. So you didn't get absolutely killed by him, but I mean, it was 10,500. So, but our optimal lineup: Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson. I mean, Kyle Larson was just a dead shoe-in, and I mean, he had a shot to win the race until Austin Dillon decided to make it 3 or 4 wide, coming, you know, towards the end of the race. Don't blame Austin for trying it. Winning is huge, and it looks like we potentially could have over 16 drivers headed to the chase. So, you know, Austin Dillon, seeing that opportunity, took it, and it didn't quite stick. But Ricky Stenhouse Jr., man, another top 10. I think it was like 3 or 4 top 10s in a row for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Can he do it again this week at I keep calling it Gateway, but it's World Wide Technology. Too long of a title, if you ask me. But either way, Chase Briscoe, Kevin Harvick. Man, Kevin Harvick's on a roll right now, too. Ty Dillon. Yeah, I mean, all these guys we kind of expected to come from the back. Only real dominator, really, of the race was Ross Chastain, leading 153 laps. I mean, he scored over 100 points, but that's fairly typical for the highest points getter on that length of a race. But one dominator, 5 place differential, guys, 3 value. And only two guys that finished in the top 5 made the optimal lineup. As you can see down below, some other guys that were higher up in the points that just didn't make the optimal. Kyle Busch, Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell. I mean, look at there, Todd Gilliland. I would have sworn that he would have been absolute crud. I mean, Harrison Burton had a pretty good day. Cody Ware with 40 points. BJ McLeod with 36 points. I mean, any of those guys you could have replaced Ty Dillon with Todd Gilliland, Cody Ware, or BJ McLeod, and you would have cashed fairly well for the day. And typically, those are the guys that just stay away from. But with that long of a race and that much attrition, it gives them the opportunity to have good finishing days. I mean, Cody Ware finishing 18th, BJ finishing 19th, Todd Gilliland finishing 16th. Yeah, I mean, check out Michael McDowell, another top 10. I think this is like week 5 or 6 that he's had a good, solid, quiet run somewhere close to the top 10. I think this year is awesome. Give me your thoughts about what your thoughts are so far for this year for the next gen car. I'm real curious to see what I'm going to call it just Gateway. I know it's World Wide Technology. I think this race has Family Man. I think this race has drivers in the top 15 that were not used. Oh yeah, I mean definitely, and I think we've seen that a couple times this year, and I think we are going to see it again. I don't know about this weekend at Gateway. It's going to be watching practice yesterday. It looks like this track could become a 1-lane track until the tires really get worn out and these guys start slipping and sliding. And if you've got a guy that's hooked up on the bottom, I think you just wait your turn. And that was kind of the indication when I did my racing this week with iRacing. I know it's not quite the same, but there are a lot of similarities to it. Once the guys started losing their handling, and if you had a decent handle on your cars and you saved your tires, you were able to make a move to the front. So it's a very technical track. They're shifting a lot. I mean, we saw some guys in practice yesterday shifting from 5th down to 3rd. I think I even heard somebody said Kurt Busch shifted down to 2nd. I don't know if that's actually factually true or not, but I mean, they're cruising into turn 1 at 160 down to about 110 and cutting it a hard left. So it's going to be interesting to watch. But either way, we are at the Enjoy Illinois 300 at Gateway / Worldwide Technology. Track type is, I'm calling it short to intermediate because it's dead flat. It's really flat. It's as flat as Martinsville, especially in turn 9. It might be flatter than either New Hampshire or Martinsville. But the track length is 1.25 miles. They hit really high speeds going into coming down the straights. Our Dominator points are 168 this week from 60 points of laps led, fast laps of 108. So Dominator points will be something we need to keep an eye on. We probably need to target at least 1 or 2 guys for Dominators. But I think place differential and finishing position is really going to be key this weekend. We had 50 minutes of practice last night, or yesterday afternoon. I didn't get a chance to watch it until last night. When I did my track comparisons, because this is the first time the Cup car has made its way to the Gateway, I chose New Hampshire, Phoenix, Richmond, Nashville, and Martinsville as the tracks to kind of compare when looking at drivers and what they have done within like the past year. Really Phoenix, Richmond, and Martinsville because we've had the next gen car there. Also, Martinsville is a little bit unique because of the cold weather. Same thing with Richmond. We didn't have tire wear, didn't have a whole lot of passing. So, and I think that's something we may see this weekend. So, a little bit different look to the video. If you're new to here, we'll kind of go through this anyways. But this has changed a little bit because we had no information and no data to come into this. So I really wanted to wait till practice happened. Because usually I try to get this video together on Friday mornings and have it out Friday afternoon. But today, because we didn't have any data, I wanted to wait for practice to happen. So over here, so we've got driver Kyle Larson, pricing of $11,300. With looking at track comparisons and current trends, Kyle Larson I have pegged at about a 6 right now on the ranking system. That will change once we get qualifying and we find out where they're going to start. But over here, we've got right underneath their name and pricing, we've got practice. And this is the total number of laps that he actually practiced. Now, he never practiced any more than a 10-lap run. So, but he was an 8th on 1-lap speed, 8th in the 5-lap consistent, and 8th. So he was consistently 8th across the board. I think Kyle Larson could. I mean, Kyle Larson's good enough to win at any track. Now you got to remember, Kyle Larson, and he admitted to it, did absolutely no sim time. Didn't even really look at this track because he was busy doing his dirt racing stuff for himself and with his kid. He literally got off the plane, hit the track, and it was like the first time he'd ever seen it. So to come in and practice 8th is pretty impressive. But this down here, we're not going to cover a whole lot of. But it's those 5 tracks and their last racing, and then kind of got the averages from that. So if we look at that, Kyle Larson has 1 win, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 3 top 20s, a 56.3 Draftkings average, and a 13.2 average finish. Since we didn't race here last year, we don't have a finishing spot for him. And over here, this is kind of another unique part for this week, is the trucks and Xfinity. So the trucks are in this, I guess, purplish bluish color. I'm colorblind, so bear with me. I just had to make changes to the colors to kind of differentiate. But so he has not had any truck starts or Xfinity starts, and this would be top 5s and top 10s. All right, so but Kyle Busch here, 10,900, 7th on the power ranking. He had 39 laps of practice. He was 9th on 1-lap speed, 5th in 5 laps, and 4th on 10 laps. I did put the 15 lap in, but there were only, I think, 10 drivers that ended up having 15 laps of consistent speed. But his average over, this was a little surprising for Kyle Busch, but his average over those last 5 comparison tracks, no top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 4 top 20s, a 25.8 Draftkings average and 14.2 average finish. I mean, I guess it's not absolutely surprising about Kyle Busch, but he typically does a little bit better on short tracks than that, I thought. Now, like I said, over here, here's the Xfinity. He's got 3 Xfinity starts, and this goes way back. I think the last time they raced Xfinity here was 2006, 7, 8. I don't know. I could pull that up, but it's been a while since they did that. Hold on one second. Racing Reference. If you guys are ever wondering, this is an awesome site. It's Racing Reference. We can look at Xfinity. Actually, we can just then better ways go up. Go to year. We come down to Gateway. Click on Gateway. The last time Xfinity here was 2010. So 12 years ago was the last time that they raced the Xfinity car here. So this day is a little, it's a little outdated, but it's still, I mean, they've been there. The track hasn't changed a whole lot, at least the configuration. You know, the tire wear is going to be a little different. They're driving the next-gen car, all that type of stuff. But either way, that's what those stats are. So we'll kind of keep cruising along here. Denny Hamlin, 10,600. In practice, he was not great. We'll see here that Penske was absolutely dominant during practice. The Toyotas were not great. And Kyle Larson, I think, was the fastest Chevy of the group. So Ford seemed to have it figured out. I'm sure these other guys will figure it out before we get to race. But, yeah, Penske was very dominant in practice yesterday. But Denny Hamlin, 10,600. He had 37 laps of practice. He was 13th on the single lap, 9th on the 5-lap average, and 7th in the 10-lap average. Denny does have 1 win, which was at the Richmond race earlier this year. 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, 3 top 20s, a 29.5 Draftkings average, 14.8 average finish. He's had 2 Xfinity starts where he finished once in the top 5. Martin Truex Jr. I mean, 24th in practice for Martin Truex Jr. In this, as well as he has run at Martinsville in New Hampshire and those types of things, I just would have expected Martin Truex Jr. to be much better in practice. He may be somebody that we need would be likely to target depending on how he qualifies this afternoon. Make sure. Oh yeah, by the way, I will do another live after they finish qualifying tomorrow, with plenty of time to set up before lineup locks. Probably depending on my son's baseball tournament schedule, I'll probably be live somewhere between 11 and 1 is my guess, but we won't get the schedule until later this afternoon after they play their games today. Either way, Martin Truex Jr. in the last 5 of those short track, flat track comparisons, he's got 1 top 10, 1 top 20, a 29.0 Draftkings average, 19.2 average finish, and he has raced here twice in the Xfinity Series, where he's got 1 win and 1 top 5, 1 top 10. Chase Elliott, kind of like Kyle Larson, this is his first trip out to St. Louis to World Wide Technology. Practice, he was 14th. I mean, as you see, but that's kind of where he has been most of this year, and then he's just kind of found his way to the front. I mean, yes, this last Sunday he did not do that, where he ended up getting on the damage clock and then didn't make speed, so he was out the Coke 600. But Chase Elliott, 10,200. I have got him pegged for second on the ranking systems currently. That may change. That may get better. That may get worse depending on where he qualifies. But 14th on practice speeds kind of has me a little bit worried about Chase. But he's a good enough driver and his team's good enough. He will probably vie for at least a top 10. Let's see where he qualifies, though. Oh yeah, shout out to Anthony Alfredo for making the pole yesterday at the Xfinity race out in Portland. Another new track, and a new track for those guys. But a road course, and Anthony Alfredo making the pole position. But back to this, Ross Chastain, 10,000, power ranking of number 1. And if you look at the last 5 short tracks comparisons that we're doing here, he's got 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s, 4 top 20s, a 53.4 Draftkings, a 7.2 average finish. He was 9th in practice, which wasn't bad. I mean, he's driving a Chevy, so I think he may have been one of the faster Chevys, other than Kyle Larson. But he went out, he ran a bunch of laps, he was in the top 10 for all the practice speeds. In the Truck Series, he has a win here. And I think it's recent. I think it was 2018 or 2019 where Ross won this race. So this track may be somewhere where we really need to kind of focus in on a Ross Chastain. I think Tyler Reddick is another one to really kind of take a look at this week. Eric Jones showed great speed in practice, but we'll get to those guys in just minutes. William Byron, 9,800. I mean, he's another one who has done a lot of short track, at least late models this year, and is getting much better. But, I mean, practice speeds, again, for Hendrick Motorsports, 16th on single lap, 18th and 5 lap, 13th and 10 lap average, 9,800. Now, William did win at Martinsville. I almost hated using Martinsville as a comparison because I was at that race, and it was brutally cold. And there was no rubber laid down on the track. It was a 1-lane track. But, I mean, honestly, we may see the same thing. I mean, I'm hoping for a warmer day. It definitely will be warmer, but I think we'll see some tire wear. I think it will end up being a 1.5 to 2 lane track, and it's going to really be dependent on how they end up. But we'll kind of keep cruising through here. William Byron does have 1 start here in trucks, and he did not finish in the top 10. But he did have that 1 win at Martinsville, 3 top 10s, 3 top 20s, a 59.9 Draftkings average, and a 9.2 average finish. Ryan Blaney, I mean, like I said, Penske was fast, and here are the stats to prove it. I mean, he had 46 laps of practice. He was second on overall speed, first on 5-lap average, second in 10-lap average, and second in 15-lap average. And Ryan Blaney's been really good here at the short style track. I mean, 1.25 miles is not really a short track, but this thing drives like a short track. It drives very, very similar to New Hampshire, where, as you remember, Eric Almirola won last year. So keep an eye on Eric this weekend too. In the short track comparisons, 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s, 4 top 20s, a 56.0 DraftKings average, 11.6 average finish. Ryan has raced here once in the trucks, and he did have a top 10 finish, 4th on the ranking system. Tyler Reddick, 9,400. His practice speeds were good. He had 35 laps of practice. He was 6th overall on the 1-lap speed, 10th in the 5-lap and 10-lap averages. Tyler's been okay on the comparison tracks. He's got 1 top 5, 1 top 10, 3 top 20s, 56.0 DraftKings average, and 13th place average finish. He does have 3 starts here in the trucks and does have 1 top 10. Christopher Bell, 9,200, 33 laps of practice, 23rd on 1 lap, his best 1 lap, and 21st and 17th on 5 and 10 laps. Christopher Bell, on the track comparisons, he's got 1 top 5, 3 top 10s, and 3 top 20s, a 36.8 DraftKings average, and a 12.6 average finish. He does have 2 starts here in the Truck Series with 1 win and 2 top 10s, so both times he's finished in the top 10. So I think Christopher Bell's run well here, at least in the trucks. I don't know how well that's going to equate to the Cup Series, but we'll find out on Sunday. Hey, make sure you hit me up in the chat if you've got any questions, thoughts. Would love to hear your comments and what you think about what you've seen so far for this year, at least in the Cup Series, and what you think we're going to see this weekend. Who's your pick to make the win or get into the top 5? I think this guy right here has a really good shot at it. Not the biggest Joey fan, but he was blistering fast. 8,900, 8th on the ranking systems. His practice speeds, he did 34 laps. He was 1st in overall practice speeds, 2nd in 5-lap average, 1st in 10-lap and 15-lap average. He was very fast, very consistent. Pretty much once he got up there, he didn't relinquish it. If that's any case, if he gets the pole, he may end up just at least blistering the first stage. After that, then it's going to come down to pit stops, and his pit crew has been, I guess all the pit crews have kind of screwed everybody up this year, but Joe Logano's been a little bit more consistent on pit road than some. Paul Wallace, Denny Hamlin, Joe Gibbs, Toyota. Yeah, they could figure out a way to screw those guys up. They will. But either way, Joey Logano in the track comparison 5, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, 4 top 20s, a 41.4 DraftKings average, 8.2 average finish. Joey does have 1 Xfinity start here, way back when. When he was such a young buck. Can't believe I think he's just now turning 30. But he does have 1 top 5, 1 top 10 out of that 1 start. Alex Bowman, 8,700, 14th on our ranking system. In practice speeds, he had 30 laps of practice with 21, 21st on the overall lap speed, 19th on 5-lap average, and 21st on 10-lap average. Family man, I have a feeling about Logano this race. I think last time he was this fast and dominated the race. Can't remember which race, but I knew it was a short track. Yeah, he also kind of did this at Darlington. If we remember back, he was very, very fast in practice, and that's the other egg shape. And I was on the borderline of putting Darlington into the comparison on this. Other than, I mean, it's much more high banked, and the tire wear is so much more severe. But the layout is almost identical. I mean, it's a 1.33 compared to a 1.25. I mean, maybe the different corners play into that, but I mean, Joey was super fast in practice, qualifying, and in the race at Darlington. Now he had to move William Byron out of the way, but I don't think he had to do that. I think Joey Logano could have easily passed William Byron. He had 4 or 5 laps to get that done, and he was way faster. So I think that may have been the one that you're talking about, Family Man. I'm not real sure. But Joey has been really, really good on short tracks. Well, he also was really, really good at the Clash. New track, new car. We got some comparisons here to the Clash at the LA Coliseum. So that was it. Okay, cool. Yeah, it was at the Clash. But yeah, there's some comparisons to this. I mean, super flat corners. Now that one was just super small too. Where this is big. It's 1.25 miles. Kevin Harvick 8,500. Kevin Harvick had the most laps run in practice. His lap speeds weren't bad. I mean, he was 15th on lap average, not average, but his fastest lap. 12th in 5 lap average, 9th in 10 lap average, and 9th in 15 laps. I mean, he ran a ton of laps. And Kevin's stats are pretty good on short tracks, and even recently. He's finished in the top 20 in all 5. He's got 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, a 51.7 DraftKings average, and a 6.6 average finish. I mean, his practice speeds were consistent. He quietly could be somebody that is a contender here. He's got 3 wins at this track. 2 wins in the Xfinity Series. I mean, we know that was eons ago, and we know Kevin's old. I'm older than Kevin, so I can say that. And he's got a truck win. He knows and understands this track. He's got a ton of laps in practice. Kevin Harvick could easily be somebody to kind of keep an eye on, depending on where he qualifies. And that's going to be a big key to this, too. Kurt Busch, 16th on the ranking system, 8,200. He had 37 laps of practice. He was 4th in 1 lap practice, which was the fastest Toyota, I think, if I remember correctly. 11th in 5 lap average, 6th in 10 lap average, and 10th. So I mean, he's got probably right there in top 10 speeds. Kurt Busch, he's kind of good at all tracks. He's just quietly pretty good at most, except for, I mean, he's never done bad at super speedways. But Kurt Busch, in the 5 short tracks that we kind of compared to, he's got a top 5, 3 top 10s, 3 top 20s, a 35.5 DraftKings average, and a 14th place average finish. He does have 1 truck start here, and he did not finish in the top 10. Daniel Suarez, $8,000. Oh, Daniel, you were slow in practice, buddy. 30 laps of practice. His 1 lap speed was 29th on the chart, 25th and 24th. And he's back there with Martin Truex Jr. for just being awful in practice. And in the track comparisons, not much better. Only 2 top 10s, 2 top 20s. I mean, I guess for Daniel Suarez, 2 top 10s isn't bad, but never cracked the top 5. This is his first trip to Gateway, so I don't know what to make of Daniel Suarez. He had a rocket ship at the Coke 600 last week, and then just got torn up at the end, where he would have had a much better Coca-Cola 600. Chase Briscoe, man, this is the guy that just absolutely says, "I'm going to send it. I don't care what the hell happens. I'm either going to win or I'm going to wreck." And once again, he just wrecked himself this time. He didn't take out the leader of the race at the Coke 600 last weekend, but that was entertaining. Needless to say, Chase Briscoe will put it all out on the table, that is for sure. 39 laps of practice. He was 11th in overall speed, 6th on 5 lap average, 11th in 10 lap average, and like I said, only 10 guys did 15 laps or more, and he was 7th in that group. So, pretty consistent, probably right there in the top 10. He does have a win. He got that at Phoenix. This track's going to drive a little bit like Phoenix. Chase Briscoe easily could be a top 10 contender, but let's see where they qualify and see if that's going to be somebody we have an interest in when we start putting our lineups together. He does have a win, like I said, at Phoenix, 2 top 10s, 3 top 20s, a 34.2 DraftKings average, and a 16th place average finish. He has raced here once in the Truck Series and finished in the top 5. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 7,700. Hold on one second. 7,700. 37 laps of practice. Ricky was not super fast in practice, but sometimes I think kind of what Ricky has kind of learned is don't wreck yourself. Don't be Ricky Stenhouse, and just be Ricky Stenhouse, and you can be there at the end. You can get yourself a top 10. And that's what he's been doing recently. So, save your stuff, Ricky, and you may get yourself into a top 10. But 22nd on overall practice speed, 16 and 5 lap average, and 14th and 10 lap average. Has one top 10 and two top 20s in our 5-track comparison. 31.8 Draftkings average and a 20.8 average finish. He has raced here 3 times in the Xfinity Series and does have one top 10. Remember, that was over 12 years ago. Austin Dillon, 7,500. 17th on our ranking systems. And, I mean, he's right there with Chase Briscoe. I'm just going to send it. Plain and simple. I'm going to send it, and I'm going to try to get the win. I don't blame Austin Dillon. Chase Briscoe, a little bit. Austin Dillon, 31 laps of practice, 20th on the overall speed, and 30th on 5-lap average. I'm not sure what happened. I did not see why he slowed down so much in the 5-lap average, other than I do know that there were some left rear tire issues happening again. And I don't think it's Goodyear's issue. I think Goodyear's bringing a perfectly fine tire to the track. These guys are just pushing the limit too much on tire pressures. Plain and simple. I think Goodyear has brought a good track. I mean, you can look. There are guys that have 40, 50 laps on their tires at these other tracks, and they're not blowing tires. Where you've got, I mean, Bubba Wallace blew a tire last week, Kyle Larson blew a tire last week, and these guys are just pushing the edge too far. And I think Goodyear's bringing a perfectly fine tire to the track. I think the crews are just screwing with the air pressures too much, and it's biting them. I don't know. That's my opinion. That's just kind of what I'm seeing. Because, I mean, if we were having an issue across the board and the entire field were blowing a tire after 20 laps, then yeah, we've got an issue and problem. But there are guys out there that are running fast and not blowing tires. So, either they've got something different in their setup that's not allowing the load to hit to that left rear, or they're doing I don't know. But I don't think it's a tire. Either way, Austin Dillon, 31 laps of practice, 20th and then 30th. The 5-lap average. Austin Dillon's not a bad little short track driver. And in the comparisons, he's got a top 5, 2 top 10, 3 top 20s, a 42.7 Draftkings average, a 12.6 average finish. He does have one truck start here where he finished in the top 10. Eric Jones, 7,300. 29 laps of practice. He was 12th on 1-lap speed, 5th in 5-lap average, and 25th in 10-lap average. In his 10-lap average, the last lap that he had, I think he had a tire issue. Once again, tire issue. I think was pushing it. Hey, Family Man, yeah, I think they're just pushing the issue too hard, and they're loading that left rear down too much, and they're leaving the air pressure either too high or too low. I don't know which one it's causing, but it's definitely causing an issue. But I think Eric Jones is a sneaky pick. I don't know how sneaky he is anymore. He's been running really well this year, but and there's nothing in the stats here that tell me that I should believe that. I mean, other than his 5-lap average, that's the only thing that's decent on the stat line. I mean, he's got 3 starts at this track in trucks with 1 top 5. And the 5-track comparisons, he's only got 1 top 20 with a 20.0 average finish. I don't know. We'll see where he qualifies. I don't know. Just something in my gut says Eric Jones is going to have a good weekend. Nothing in the stats that should lead me to that. Brad K, 7,100. Man, Brad. Penske was super fast, and Brad, you're not super fast. You're pretty much running the same equipment. 35 laps of practice, 19th on the single lap, 22nd in the 5-lap average, and 19th in the 10-lap average. In the comparison tracks, not all bad. 1 top 5, 1 top 10, 2 top 20s, a 32.3 Draftkings average, a 16th place average finish. He has raced here 8 times, does have 1 win, 5 times in the Xfinity Series, but he's got 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, The 3 trucks, he's got 1 top 5. Well, I don't know. I'm holding my breath I'm not holding my breath on Brad K. I'm going to kind of wait and see, kind of like I was with Denny Hamlin. What have you done for me lately? And Brad, you haven't done anything for me lately. So, Eric is such a good driver. Yeah, he really is. And he's a great kid, and he's great for the sport. He's won me some money this year. Yeah, I mean, no, I definitely, he's also cost me some money too, with some late race incidents. But he's good. He doesn't get overly owned, which is nice for Draftkings. I mean, another one that kind of been sneaky is Michael McDowell, and we're gonna get to him here in a minute. I mean, he's been running consistently in the top 10. And that's what I love about this new car. We're starting to see some guys who are actually really good drivers make their way to the top, and that's what this should be. Eric Almirola here. I mean, I don't know how sneaky he's going to be because he won New Hampshire last year, $7,000. His practice speeds were consistent, solidly, pretty much in the top 10. 7th on the overall, 15th on 5-lap average, 12th and 10-lap average, and 6th. Now remember, there's only 10 guys doing 15-lap averages or more. But he's got to win. He got it in New Hampshire. 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 4 top 20s at the track comparisons, a 39.3 DraftKings average, 9.2 average finish. It's going to be dependent on where he qualifies. I'd love to see Eric kind of qualify 15th, 16th, 17th. Because then I think he gets overlooked. And then I think he is somebody to really target in on for DraftKings. If he qualifies in the top 5, then if he qualifies poorly, a bunch of people are going to be on him for place differential. So I'd love to see Eric Almirola kind of quietly get a top, probably 15th to 18th, and then he gets overlooked and ends up with him being in the top 5 at the finish of this race tomorrow. But he's got 3 starts here in the Truck Series at Gateway. Yes, I know, Worldwide Technology. 1 top 5, 3 top 10s. Austin Cindric, yeah, man, he was fast. For a guy that's only been here once in the trucks and did not do well, once again, Austin Cindric, blazingly fast in practice, blazingly fast in qualifying, and just can't put together a long race. But that's typical for these guys that move up from trucks and Xfinity, for at least for the first year or two, until they really kind of figure out how to run these long races. I mean, you've got some guys that just show up and are just good. I mean, and Austin Cindric's a great driver. I think he's going to be, he has the potential to be a champion in this sport in the next 3 to 5 years. But I think he's just trying to get his footing and trying to figure out how to finish these longer races. Once he figures that out, Austin's going to be a good driver. But right now, yeah, you're blistering fast on practice and qualifying. Just not good when it comes to finishing races. In 3 starts, he's got 1 top 20, a 21.5 DraftKings average, and 18.3 average finish. Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace has a win here in the trucks. And he was okay on practice speeds, not great. 17th on overall, 20th in 5-lap average, 18th in 10-lap average, and 8th out of 10 on the 15-lap average. But he's got an 8.4 average finish. That didn't come across right. Usually I do this on record. I usually don't do this live, and I can go back and edit and find out where I made a mistake. But that 8.4 average does not equate to no top 20s. So something in my stuff is wrong. I'll have it fixed by tomorrow for the video tomorrow. Don't know. I'm not going to go look right now. But Bubba Wallace is actually a good short track racer. And he's a better super speedway racer. And he's actually getting much better at the 1.5 miles. Bubba Wallace could be somebody to start watching out for. 2311, if they can just not kill their driver in pit road. All the Joe Gibbs and 2311 guys could end up having really, really good years. But they've got to fix their pit road issue. But either way, Bubba Wallace 17th, 20th, 18th, and 8th. We talked about that. He does have the win here in the Truck Series. Keep an eye out for that. Chris Buescher. Yeah, he's home. He tested positive for COVID, so he's on protocol. So we'll skip him. Yeah, Bubba does have the worst pit crew, and I feel bad for him. You know, I don't ever try to get over political about it, but I think Bubba Wallace kind of used the whole things that happened in 2020 to his advantage, which I don't blame him. But you know, now that that's kind of settled, and Bubba Wallace can just focus in on racing and do what he's supposed to do on the track and just leave all the politics behind, which he still does put his nose into it a little bit, but I think all these guys do. I just wish sports would leave it alone. Bubba's a decent little driver, and he's actually really funny on social media, if he leaves the politics out of it. But Bubba Wallace is, I'm beginning to like Bubba Wallace more and more. I thought he was a little arrogant, and that's pre-2020 crap. He's a good dude, and he's good for the sport, regardless of what the politics are behind it. It's good for the sport. But Cole, go back to Cole Custer here, 6,300, 26 total laps in practice. He was 25th and 23rd. I tell you what, Cole Custer, if you don't start having better finishes, you're going to be back in the Xfinity Series. Stuart Haas is going to find a replacement for you. I don't know what's going on there. Cole Custer is a solid driver. I think it's pit crew issues. I think he just had... I mean, it's kind of like Austin Cindric. Yeah, he does have the win in Kentucky, but that was kind of a fuel mileage race that he got that win in. And Cole Custer, what have you done for me lately? Not much. And I'm sure Stuart and Haas are probably going, dude, what have you done for me lately? Not much. Yeah, Cole Custer might be on the hot seat real soon if he's not careful. Because I think Stuart Haas is going to make a lot of off-season changes. And I wonder how much rumor behind the Dodge coming back potential is. You know, Stuart Haas is not strangers to changing everything up, that's for sure. AJ Allmendinger, 6,200, 28th on the ranking system. And AJ Allmendinger did not run this car. Ben Rhodes, I think, was the one that tested this car, and he made it 2 laps. Poor Ben. 2 laps, blew a tire, hit the wall. Now they had to repair the entire car. I mean, AJ was going to have to start from the rear anyways. I'm not sure they even get a qualifying speed in. I'm not sure they even try to. I think they just say, screw it, let's start from the rear. So I'll be interested to see what they do with this car. But they had it completely torn apart. Same thing with Parker Kligerman when we get to him. He had a massive fire in his car earlier. 3 starts, though, for AJ in this 5 race average that we're looking at, 27.3 and 23.7. AJ is not a good short track, flat track driver, which is strange because he's great on road courses, but he just can't figure out these small little ovals, high-speed ovals. He's decent on the big tracks, but you put him on at a Martinsville or Richmond and those types of tracks, and AJ's not that good. So I'm really surprised that they put AJ in that car for this weekend. But hey, whatever. I wish they would just move Noah up and put Noah in that car in the 16 full time. I think it'd be much better and more consistent. Yeah, and Justin Haley. I mean, Justin Haley quietly is starting to have a better and better year. His practice speeds were god awful. 28 total laps with 28 on the 1 lap average, 29th on the 5 lap average, 22nd in the 10 lap average. Not that fast. He does have 3 truck starts here. He does have 1 win, 1 top 5, 1 top 10. Parker Kligerman, let's get 5 laps in and come in because you got an issue and find out that your car's on fire. Yeah, they burned that car down in pit road, or actually in the garage area, and are having to completely rebuild it because I don't think they brought a backup car. I think they're completely having to piecemeal this car together. I feel bad for Parker. It's his first start in the Cup Series in a while. I think he started Talladega last year. But you know, here's an opportunity for Parker to get another start in the Cup Series. And you want to talk about a cool dude? Parkers are good, dude. I like Parker, but yeah, practice speeds were 35th. There was something wrong with that car to begin with. There's always kind of something wrong with the 15. I don't know what it is because these cars are all identical for the most part, except for the engine. And I mean, they're buying their engines from the big boys. So I don't know. Michael McDowell, 5,600. Not the practice speeds I would have thought Michael would have had, but Michael's been quietly working his way towards the front. Now, you're not going to do it with 27th on practice speeds. He didn't even make anything longer than a 5-lap run. He's not great on short tracks. I don't know what to do with Michael this weekend. We'll see where he qualifies, but I think he's probably going to qualify 28th to 32nd, and it's going to be like, well, he's got the potential for a place differential, and then he's going to screw me over. But he has been very, very good, quietly good over the last 4 or 5 weeks. So we'll see. Ty Dillon, 40 laps of practice, 18th on first lap on 1 lap average, 17th on 5-lap average, and 20th. If Ty Dillon qualifies towards the back, he is one that will just be consistently quiet and just methodical and typically not get himself torn up, and he ends up having good races. I mean, he's faster. He's as fast as Justin Haley and those guys, and he can quietly just work his way to the front. So we'll see where he qualifies. He does have, let's see, in the 5 races that we're looking at, he has 3 starts, 1 top 20, a 20.7 average finish. So maybe. Harrison Burton, he was fast in practice, but he is driving pretty much a Penske car. Is Haley a good short flat tracks? He's kind of like Bubba Wallace. He's good at short flat tracks, and he's good at super speedways. And he's not that great at the intermediates. And we're kind of in this funny realm of, is this an intermediate? Is this a short track? It's definitely a flat track. But it's in between. Let's see, where did Justin Haley finish? We'll look at this just real quick. Better here. Let's go. Books. 1 second, let me pull this up. All right. So here's all my information. Let's see. Where did Justin Haley? I finished 29th at Richmond, 31st at Martinsville, 17th at Phoenix. Loudon last year, he finished 28th. And Nashville, he finished 36th. So, no, not that good. Nope. So if that answers your question, he's not that good at the short flat tracks. Oh, you're welcome, family man. Harrison Burton, Penske setup equipment owned by Wood Brothers. Look at there. Practice speeds were pretty good for Harrison Burton. I mean, considering what we normally see out of a Harrison Burton. 12th on first lap average, or best speed. 13th on 5-lap average. 16th in 10-lap average. I mean, for a rookie, I mean, he's not an Austin Cindric, but he's got a 24.3 average finish, 17.8 Draftkings points. He's slowly starting to figure this car out. He just needs to have good, clean finishes. He needs to make it to the end of these races. Kind of like Austin Cindric. These rookies just need to learn to make it to the end of the race. They need to learn how to finish these races first before they can get top 10s and top 15s and be contenders. We're going to have them potentially show up every once in a while as blips on the radar. But I mean, Harrison Burton's a good race car driver. Austin Cindric is a great race car driver. I mean, the Xfinity champion. And the Cup Series is just tough. I mean, Matt DiBenedetto having to now drive trucks. Now, that was probably more political than anything, but either way, he's now having to drive trucks. Anthony Alfredo, now back into the Xfinity Series. I mean, it's a tough series. So I think Harrison Burton just needs to finish races. If he finishes races, he's going to be a top 20, top 25 guy. And then you work on from there. His practice speeds are good. That's encouraging. So let's see where Harrison qualifies. I hope he doesn't qualify too high, because if you outkick your coverage, at least for DraftKings, not interested. No, I'm quietly kind of a Harrison Burton fan. I'm a Burton fan. I like all the Burtons, but I live in Virginia and have grown up watching the Burton boys, all the way back to Ward Burton. Race. I mean, the same thing with the Sadlers. Enjoyed watching the Sadlers drive. Corey LaJoy here, 5,100, 33 practice laps, and Corey, 30th on top speed and 31 in 5-lap averages, and you didn't make any more than 5 laps. I mean, Corey's another one. I love his podcast. I think he's got a great sense of humor. I think he's good for the sport. But man, why are you so slow all the time? Come on, Corey. Get it together. Todd Gillen, 4,900. Once again, and this guy, I think, should have gone to Xfinity first before coming to Cup. And I think it's biting them. I mean, they screwed this up last year with Anthony Alfredo in the 38 car. It wasn't time, and it wasn't ready. Todd Gillen is a good race car driver. But once again, he's just like these other guys. He's got to finish out these races. He's got to get those laps. Got to get that seat time. But 5 starts here at Gateway. 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of getting down to the point where a lot of these guys don't make optimal lineups. They typically aren't even in the picture for DraftKings. BJ McLeod only made 6 laps of practice. Josh Palicki, 33 laps of practice, 34th. Zane Smith. I mean, this is kind of cool, and Zane gets it. If he watched his interview yesterday, Zane Smith gets it. Zane Smith is like, I want to finish on the lead lap, and I want to finish the race. That's it. Those are his 2 goals tomorrow. Finish the race, which is the biggest one, in my opinion. Get that seat time. Get those laps in. Learn how to drive around the best drivers in this sport. And try to finish on the lead lap. And the 17 car has got plenty of power to do that. He's going to have a great crew chief. He's going to have good, decent pit stops. And his practice speeds are okay. I mean, for a guy that literally, at 6 o'clock Friday morning, found out that he was going to drive that car and started turning laps in the sim, to jump to this and be 26, I mean, you're faster than a third of the field. If you just keep your nose clean and don't do anything stupid, Zane Smith's going to have a good run. And he's won 3 times in the trucks this year. He's having a great year. He's on top of the world. Now, should he be a full-time Cup driver? Heck no. But Zane Smith has an opportunity to really get some great seat time. I feel sorry for Busher not being in his car, and that sucks. But what an opportunity for Zane. And I think he gets it. His mindset's going to be right. So I'm looking forward to seeing Zane Smith kind of run some laps. Another one to watch out for is Raja Karuth today in the truck race. That car was supposed to be, I think, wheeled by William Byron, but because it is a truck race, I don't know, something special going on, none of the Cup drivers can run in it. So that is a pretty much Hendrick Motorsports Spire truck that is fully set up for William Byron, and Raja Karuth gets the opportunity to run it. And talk about a kid that came out of I think he's from Baltimore, and he did iRacing, and then got a shot at the NASCAR Next series, and did well. I watched him race at Richmond, and had a consistently good run race. Keep an eye on Raja Karuth today. If you play Draftkings, I think he's starting 18th or 19th. Great opportunity. That kid's going to finish the race, and he's going to finish well. He's got the equipment to do it. Kind of like Zane Smith. You get it. Here's your shot. You get your one shot. Watch for Raja Karuth today. That's my pick for not to win. I think he has a top 10 potential, which would be huge for Raja Karuth. Check back with me on Sunday. I'll be back. I'm guessing noon. I don't know my kid's baseball schedule, and his game just started. So I have got to hit the road. I got about a 20-minute drive to go catch his game. Have a great weekend. Not a great weekend. Have a great Saturday. We'll see you tomorrow. When will qualifying start? Qualifying starts at... it starts in an hour. So, yeah, I probably could have just stayed on and done, full coverage of qualifying. Even though I think Fox would be mad at me. But qualifying starts in an hour. And then we've got the truck race. I watch DFS NASCAR videos. You are the only guy that just gives us the facts and lets... Yeah, I mean, that's... Yeah, I appreciate that, Philly, man. I try to just literally... It's the stats. I mean, I'm going to tell you what my opinions are. Because it's my show. And you can take my opinions for what they are. It's free to watch this. It's entertainment. I try to give you some decent graphics. I try not just to have spreadsheets. And not that those guys are bad. I've watched them for years. I just saw an opportunity to start a channel. I've been doing Draftkings in NASCAR for 10 years. I mean, ever since it started. I used to just do bets on NASCAR even before that started. So I love the sport. I do a decent amount of iRacing. I'm just an old man who loves the sport and loves stats. You do great, man. I'll be back tomorrow. Hey, I appreciate it, man. I wish I could give you a better time, but because I don't know my kid's tournament schedule, I don't know what time I'm going to be live. But I will be on before the race. It could be early in the morning. It could be around noon. But I appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, guys, make sure you share this. Make sure you like it. Make sure you hit subscribe. But I have got to run. They have already started their game, and I've got a 20-minute drive. So check back with me tomorrow. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you my opinions, but I'm also going to give you all the facts and data. So, hey, have a great Saturday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the truck race and enjoy the Xfinity race. We'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.
Tonight, getting the W's, so got to be around at the end to do that. You ready to roll tonight, boys? Let's go have some fun.
Don't get me any more fired up than I already am.
All the way to the checkered. You're fine. Nobody's got to run. Checker time, baby!
Hell yeah!
Proud of you there, Matt. Good job, pal. Thanks, man. Good job all day.
Great work, my man. Great work. Keep putting yourself in position. We'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
Great job, guys. Excellent work, my man. Excellent work. Thank you.
Man, that's awesome. Set out with a goal. We got it here, bud. Thank you very much.
Really proud of you, man. Drove your butt off tonight. We had the best car here, bud.
Probably killed our deal there. Just feel like I gave one away. Yeah, boys. Way to rebound. Great job.
Great job, bud. Really good job. Appreciate you hanging in there with us all weekend.
What a weekend. Good job. Thank you.